Hello, Sanford. You are listening to Sanford Sports Radio. My name is Jonathan West, and it is a brand new year of Sanford College football. And if you folks have been under a rock and wanting to know what went on with your Coyotes this offseason, well, you missed a lot. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. Let's first do what we always do here on The Howler. We'll talk about some recruits, and there's some big names to look for this year. One to watch is Keith Darby, a cornerback. Flash Gibson's leaving at the end of the offseason. He is a senior, so they need a guy that can replace him on the outside, and I think Darby is the perfect guy at 6'1", 192. He'll join Dustin Jordan. I think they can be a deadly tandem. With some big defensive prospects leaving, of course, Deshaun Hollis and Big Joe, the defensive line is a big key here. Jamil Alvarez is a recruit that Sanford is really looking towards. Expect him to get a lot of looks this year. Expect for him to be a top target as well. Another name to watch is a Winnipeg native, and this man is big. 6'7", Garrett Theory, the tight end. This is a guy that Coach Wolf has fallen in love with after seeing some of his junior tape in high school. He's already started his senior year with a great first game, and Theory is looking phenomenal already. Expect Theory to be a top target. They want more of that in the tight end position here. Quinn Collins, another guy to look at. He is a defensive tackle. I stated once again the defensive line. Going to see a lot of names leave this offseason, so they're going to have to replenish that line, as well as fix a big issue, which is, of course, offensive line depth, and that will be a thing we cover all season long with how weak this offensive line truly is with the depth that's there. So a guy like Boston Ferdinand, there we go, is a guy to look at from Montreal, Canada, 6'8", 271. He's a big guy, and he can block very, very well. He's a big target on the board, and Coach Wolf wants to bring him in badly. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not talking about Coach Martin or Riley. We'll touch on that later on here in the Howler. There's a lot to talk about from what transpired in the offseason. Another name to look at is an Adam himself. Of course, Adam Woods, not Adam Wolf, the Executive Vice President of Football Operations up in Baltimore currently and father of Coach Darren Wolf. But Adam Woods, the outside linebacker, a very talented young man. Expect for him to be a big target, and he likes the Sanford program. So that is a huge plus for Sanford. I think Woods could play anywhere on the linebacking core, outside or inside. Another guy to watch is cornerback Jeff Adams at 6'1", 181. He's got the size that Coach Wolf really likes in the secondary, and he's even got some speed to him. He plays more zone coverage, so that man style that this defense likes to run could be tough for him. But he is a guy that Coach Wolf thinks, given a year or two, could be a big, big help in that secondary. Back to the offensive line we go, and it's Heath Marks, guard out of Honolulu, Hawaii. This kid is another big need. He is a great interior lineman, and I would be shocked if they don't make a big push for Marks this season. So look for Ferdinand and Marks to be kind of the top targets when it comes to offensive line depth. This team desperately needs it, and they're going to have to get as many guys as they can. More targets to watch, Kyle Rivardo. We're not going to touch on a lot of every recruit this season, but we will touch on some. Rivardo, they haven't really seen much yet. They have seen a little bit of last year's footage of him, and he plays inside linebacker, so it's a good place to get some depth on this roster that is very weak at the inside linebacker position. Another guy to look at is Todd Lynch out of Countryside, Virginia, the defensive end. Another guy that we could see join that line that's going to be losing a ton of talent. No Deshaun Hollis next year, and that's going to hurt this Sanford defense big time. It's a big class coming out this year, folks, both on the offensive and defensive sides. We'll talk a bit to end the program about this team and some of the prime players to watch this year, and plenty more things to cover as a big headline concerning this program and it being moved over to television. As Jalen Huff, a target at the running back position out of Englewood, California. This team has had issues with scouting talent from California, so we'll see how Huff takes it moving from sunny Englewood to possibly coming up north here to Sanford, Maine. Quite a different situation there. There are a few quarterbacks to talk about, but Sanford isn't pursuing them as hard as we're used to. I could see them picking maybe one of the quarterbacks up, and Kyle Sehorn, Jake Ferdinand, the brother to Ferdinand Boston we talked about earlier. But I don't see them going after a ton of them. Jason Rivado, I apologize for the words coming out today, is another guy I could see them possibly going after as a possible red shirt. The quarterback situation is good here at Sanford for at least the next 2 years. So I don't see quarterback being a big target just yet. Now, another guy I'm going to touch on here, and we'll probably talk about more, is Ian Holiday. He's a tackle prospect out of Winnipeg. We'll touch on him more than likely more this season. As I stated earlier, we won't talk about everybody in this edition of the Howler. But Holiday's another guy to keep in mind as he is an offensive tackle, and the depth is desperately needed. As I stated, Jason Rivado, the brother to the other Rivado we talked about earlier. A lot of brothers in the recruiting sources to this season, as Tony Baker, the brother to Joe Baker, who is currently the number 2 running back on the depth chart here at Sanford, is another recruit to keep an eye on at strong safety. Safety is a position that's been up in the air every so often throughout the season, so expect to see Baker get some looks. Chad Riley, a receiver, is another guy out of Newark, New Jersey. You could see Riley get looked at, and of course another offensive lineman to keep in mind, Peyton Doane. And Doane's out of Bristol, Virginia, so there's not a very close proximity there, so it might be tough to get Doane to move up north to Maine a little more than some of the guys that are around the area. Guy Hurd, another guy to keep in mind at corner, and Jason Hamilton at defensive end. I'm sure we'll talk about more recruits as they come in and as guys commit to possibly other programs. Now let's talk about some other things like preseason All-Americans, because Sanford has had a good chunk of them. Joe Irvin and Dustin Jordan being 2 of them, and it's not a shock to see those 2 names get on the preseason All-American list. They have been absolutely phenomenal in their time here at Sanford, and especially last season. Irvin setting the sack record here at Sanford at 12, and Dustin Jordan with 6 interceptions last season. Now, with Sanford moving in the offseason to the American Conference, we now got to talk about All-American teams, which means Claude Fleming and a ton of other Coyotes, such as Chris Wilson, the center, who is going to be trusted to play a lot of football this year. Deshaun Hollis also making it. Patrick Jackson making it as well on the All-American Conference preseason All-American team. But with the move to the American Conference, it is a very interesting situation. Sanford now is in a much more difficult conference. They're not in the MAC. It is not, well, what I think a lot of people would call an easy situation anymore. Because the MAC conference is looked at as an easier conference. We knew this way back when Sanford joined the FBS. But a key component here for Sanford this season is, can they match up with the amount of competition that's there? They've got tough teams. Temple, of course, their rival UConn is now in conference. So we're going to see Sanford play UConn this season, and it's going to mean a lot more than it already means to the seniors. There's UCF. There's Cincinnati. Sadly, Cincinnati not on the schedule this year. Tanner Patrick quite unhappy with that. He wanted to hopefully go back home and win a game here his senior year. But sadly not to happen. Houston's also in the conference. There's a ton of tough teams, and it's really going to test how good this team is. It's arguably the best team on paper that Sanford College has put out there. The question is, can they get the job done? And that is something that I don't think anybody right now has the answer, especially with the chaos that went on with the coaching staff. For those of you who may not know, Coach Mark Riley and Drew Martin are no longer here at Sanford. What happened is Sanford did not pick up an extension for Coach Martin. Coach Martin has moved on from Sanford College. He is now the offensive coordinator at LSU. Now, Mark Riley, on the other hand, is now a head coach here at the FBS, and the Sanford College Coyotes will be welcoming him back to begin this season as he's head coaching Boston College. The first game of the season is Sanford College hosting the Eagles of Boston College in a fun matchup. It's going to be great to see Mark Riley just come back to where, everything begins every season for him, or at least it has the past few years. And a very interesting situation is going to be the new offensive and defensive coordinator. George Barnett taking over on offense, and on defense, defensive coordinator Brian Ward. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do with this offense and defense. Of course, Coach Wolf normally was in charge of helping with the offensive play calls. He didn't downright call the plays, but he did make the playbook with some help from Coach Martin. So I'm wondering if the playbook will change at all, if we'll see any differences. And on that defensive side, can Ward call the plays like Riley did? There's going to be a lot of eyes on the coordinators this year. That is for certain. And a lot of eyes, I think, on week 1, as well as next year when Mark Riley's Boston College Eagles will host the Sanford Coyotes. There's already been an agreement made that the Eagles will host Sanford next season. So Mark Riley will see his former team each in back-to-back years, so it's going to be fun to see that. But let's talk about this ball game. As currently Sanford is favored to win it, surprisingly. I'm legitimately blown back at that. But the Coyotes have a tough test. It's ACC competition. And I've talked about it plenty of times. You don't know how good this Sanford team is. And I think that's coming into every season. Whether you're a fan, whether you're a guy like me sitting up here in the booth and doing this job for the college here, we never know what's going to come out on that field. We can question all we want from what we've heard about practices, what the coaches say in press conferences. We can say whatever we want about how good the team might look on paper. But it all depends on when game day hits, and we don't know how good the seniors are going to play. This is all going to come down to Tanner Patrick's play. Can he have a better senior season? He hasn't had that season that makes you go, this kid is a great quarterback yet. Can Claude Fleming have another 1,000-yard rushing season? Can Josh Williams be that number one guy that he was last year? A ton of questions surrounding Sanford, and there's a ton of players on Boston College that they're going to have to keep an eye on. Anthony Brown, the senior quarterback, hasn't gotten a lot of play time, and Coach Riley announced he is the starter this year, and he'll get a lot of time to play. Brown, very similar in my opinion to the way Tanner Patrick is able to play with his mobility. So Brown is something that Riley's seen before in Patrick, so expect a very similar style. Now, one interesting factoid is Byron Gerard, the fullback for Boston College. That name might sound familiar because he is a young man who was recruited by Sanford and decided Boston College over the Coyotes. They'll get to see the offensive weapon that they wanted to bring in. And he'll be coming here to Sanford in week 1. So that ought to be a fun eyeball there, getting to see Gerard. Tight end Ray Martin is a guy to watch out for. He is arguably the biggest target, I think, on this offense. This is going to be the guy I think to look for, and the linebackers are going to have to play well to defend him. David Hill's another guy to watch out for, the left end, the junior. He comes in at 6'7", 264. He's a big guy, and he's got some mobility to him. Expect him to wreak havoc if this offensive line can't keep up. Another guy who can wreak havoc on the offensive line is Michael Dwumfor. Yes, Dwumfor is how I pronounce that. I do not know if that is correct, and I apologize to the young man if I am wrong. But nonetheless, the senior is a guy who can wreak havoc just on the best of offensive lines. And I think Tanner Patrick may be running a little more than he wants this week. Ethan Tuckey, arguably the captain of that defense in the linebacking core. We'll see him this week, and he is a tough player, another senior on that defense. And we know how Coach Riley likes to call his defense and be very aggressive. I have a feeling we'll see a lot of that this week. The key matchup I'm looking at is Lionel Alexander, though, the top corner for Boston College, against Josh Williams. That is the top matchup, I think, of the day. And if Williams can't get going, if Alexander keeps him down, it could be a long day for the passing attack, unless Rob Thomas is able to step up. Now let's talk about the players to watch this year. There's a ton of seniors to watch out for, but the big name I think we all have to look at first is Claude Fleming, the running back. He has arguably been the face of this program, especially the last 2 years. He is a guy to look at on that offense, and I think even more than Tanner Patrick is the face of that offense. On defense, the man who runs the ship is Big Joe. Joe Irvin, number 96. Sadly, we're going to be losing him to graduation at the end of the season. It was great to see him return for his senior season. It's going to be tough to lose him at the end of the year, but hopefully Justin Moss can take over well next season. Of course, at the quarterback position, arguably the most important position in football, Tanner Patrick, who had arguably his best year last year, hopefully he can just do better. If he can improve on that and not turn the ball over, which has been an issue for him, I think he can be an NFL caliber quarterback. On the defensive side, there is also junior Dustin Jordan. Talked about him earlier. He's a guy who had 6 interceptions last season. He's going to have to prove that he can play consistently like that year in and year out. And finally, Josh Williams, the sophomore wide receiver, had some issues off the field last year, was suspended 4 games. As long as he can stay clean and he looks as he does off the field, he looks like a new man. If he can stay like that, let's hope that he plays all year long and has a phenomenal season. That's been a hell of a start for the Sanford Coyotes here in the first edition of the Howler on the Year. We'll see you folks this weekend as Sanford hosts former defensive coordinator Mark Riley and his newly acquired Boston College Eagles. Hello, Sanford. You are listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West, and we are here in Sanford City Stadium to begin a new season of college football for the Coyotes, and it is time to hashtag defend the den against an old Pack member, as Coach Mark Riley now is the head coach of the Boston College Eagles. So Sanford has a familiar face on the opposing sideline now. Not to mention former recruits, Byron Gerard is also over there on Boston College. Sanford extremely high on the man who they called an offensive weapon. But a lot of focus is going to be on defensive coordinator Brian Ward and George Barnett. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the new offensive defensive coordinator play this week. And I think it's going to tell a lot about how this season is going to go. Not to mention eyes will be on the defense and offense after a ton of seniors have left this team. We'll see how the season starts for the Coyotes as we get ready to go. Coyotes will begin with the football as that one is kicked away. The season is underway. Sam Williams to return, and the young corner runs right into a bunch of Eagles. That's a 17-yard return to begin things. As it is 1st and 10 for the Coyotes. Out of the I-form, they go play action early. Patrick connects with Lorenzo Newman, the new tight end on the scene. He is the number 1 guy after the graduation of Duron Costello, and that is a good first impression in his first start as the number 1 tight end. 1st and 10 here, still in the I-form. They go fullback dive to Charles Gutierrez. the freshman fullback after the senior Antoine Bradford leaves Sanford last offseason. It's 2nd and 10 now out of the shotgun. Claude Fleming takes the carry, but he goes nowhere. A loss of 2 on that run as Boston College was all over it. That's Tim Hill. We talked about him in the Howler and how deadly he could be to this offensive line. 3rd and 12, and Patrick's going to throw, and he nearly connects with the wrong jersey. That was Eric Collins on coverage, and he nearly had an interception. As the boot is away by Valley, Gordon going to return it. He's got room to run, get some blocks around the Sanford Coyotes past the 40, the 30. No one's going to catch him. 10-5 touchdown BC. That's the exact opposite of what you want to see from this special teams unit. You can't be allowing special teams touchdowns, especially this early in the season. You got to get momentum off of special teams, and that does not help. We do have a studio update for you folks, though, as Baylor is finished over SMU. They have won 34-31. SMU, an American Conference team, now a focal point as the Coyotes are now in the American Conference. Temple loses to number 17 Notre Dame in a close one. Memphis also falls to Vanderbilt. But in non-conference play, South Carolina defeats number 10 Florida State in an upset, 48-31. As we bring you back here to Sanford, the offense on the field, and it's Claude Fleming running up the gut. It's raining here in Sanford, and we've had a couple of issues before the game started with the visuals up here in the booth. So if I don't see something, I apologize, folks. We may have some problem with the electronics here, as that is enough for the first by Sanford. Into the Wildcat as Tyrese Baker looks to throw, but he goes down. That's Tim Hill again. Hill causing more chaos. I'm sorry, that's David Hill, not Tim Hill on that one. As Hill brings them down, 2nd and 18 coming up for the offense. They're in the shotgun. Patrick looks to throw. He's rolling out, throws on the run. That's Fleming, and that's going to be a nice solid gain of 11. That'll make it a more manageable 3rd and 17. Still would prefer a shorter situations. Play action here, and it's taken away. Lionel Alexander with the interception. That's the last thing Sanford needed, as Adam Gillette was the intended target, the freshman receiver. And it's 1st and 10 now for Boston College. They have a chance to really get ahead in this ball game as Andrew Justice takes it up for a gain of 5. The Sanford defense needs to get a stop. They need a big play here against this Boston College defense, as that's a first down for Mike Evans, an 8-yard reception. And that's a big play for Boston College. Gives a lot of momentum to Anthony Brown now on his first completion. 1st and 10 with 3 minutes to go here in the first. Brown drops back. He'll connect with Martin, the tight end, and he takes a shot. That is Matthew Fowler, the middle linebacker, and Fowler's getting his first career start here, and he's got to take over for Otis Griffin, who played phenomenal last year. Big shoes to fill. 2nd and 8. Brown drops back, looks to run, avoids Big Joe, but gets brought down by redshirt freshman Shea Faraday, and that is the first career tackle for the young defensive end. 3rd and 6. Brown looks to throw as Irvin was there, and that was nearly intercepted by Dustin Jordan off the hands of the junior. He nearly had his first pick of the year. It's 4th down. The offense is still out for Boston College as a deep ball to Evans got behind Pat Riley. And it hurts even worse than Mark Riley's new team makes a big play off his younger brother in the safety position. That's disappointing to see. Pat Riley just lost Mike Evans behind him and couldn't recover in time. 1st and goal here for Boston College as Brown dropping back. He's going to take off and run for it, and that's an easy touchdown, Boston College. It's a two-possession game now, folks. It's going to be a tough stint here now for Sanford. It's ACC competition, and we can say all we want, but this situation has to get better as the kick goes here to Sam Williams again. As he's got some blocks up front, and he's got running room past the 40 at midfield. He's past the 40 on Boston College territory, down at the 25. 67 yards by Sam Williams. Great play, as now Sanford has phenomenal field position. They're 5 yards away from the red zone, folks, as Tanner Patrick to throw here. And deep downfield, that's Rob Thomas, and that is a 20-yard play down to the 5. It would have been a touchdown, I think, if 1 foot hadn't gone out of bounds. He was so close to taking that one home. First and goal here, pistol formation. They go to the option, but it doesn't work out. Patrick has bottled up a 2-yard loss. Eric Collins playing great football right now here for Boston College. Second and goal now in the full house. They love this formation, as that's right up the gut with Claude Fleming. We don't normally see that out of the full house, but it will give them 4 down to the 2. Third and goal from the 2 or 3 yard line. They pitch it out, and Mike Heath with a phenomenal block that leads Fleming to the end zone. Touchdown Sanford. It's a one-possession game, folks. The Coyotes are finally on the board, and Coach Mark Riley has a tough test now in his first head coaching experience. It's 1st and 10 here with 13 seconds left, and Andrew Justice on the run. It's a first down and more for Boston College. He had some good blocks around that right side. So that's more than likely going to take us to the end of the first quarter. And it's looking like a tough one here to begin. A fun game indeed here in the rain, as it's 14-7. Boston College on top of Sanford at the end of the first. We've got more here for you on Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to the Sanford Sports Radio. I'm Jonathan West. The second quarter just beginning here as Byron Girard, the man in motion. And Andrew Justice takes another handoff, breaks off a 1 tackle, and carries Dion Jordan for another 2 to 3 yards. That's a 9-yard gain for Andrew Justice. 2nd and 1, as Justice showed a lot of power on that last run, and they'll go right back to him as he'll get the first down. Riley came in to really shut him down, but it will be enough, a 2-yard run. 1st and 10 under center is Brown in the eye. They go back to Justice on the ground, but this time the defense corrals. That's only a gain of 3, as Justice couldn't get through 5 or 6 blue jerseys. 2nd and 7, still I formation here, as Brown hands off to Justice. Justice goes up the gut, but he can't find much, gain of 5. It'll be a manageable 3rd and 2, though, here. So not a bad situation for Boston College. This defense has to step up. 3rd and 2, handoff goes to Russell, who checked in, and he's got the first down and more, as technical difficulties up here in the booth. But you can see a first down from Russell there. 1st and 10. Justice now on the draw, and that's going to be a gain of 6 for the young man, as we had more issues on a 2nd down play that was a loss by, I believe, Pat Riley making the play. 3rd and 8, though, goes nowhere for Boston College, as Andrew Justice couldn't go anywhere with Justin Moss all over that screen. 4th and 8 as Brown looks to throw. There's a big situation, and look at that! Thomas Bridges got behind the defense. A big 36-yard touchdown strike. I'm astonished, folks. We're not used to seeing that by the secondary. Jordan got caught off guard, and it's a big touchdown by Boston College, but they missed the extra point, as that one is short. Luckily, no extra point. It's 20-7 here in Sanford, but we've got some updates for you. Michigan has defeated Mississippi State 29-28 in their first game of the season, so a big win for Michigan in the Big Ten. And Alabama defeats Michigan State in a tight one, 38-44. Bama gets the victory, number 4 in the nation, surely to go up next season. next week, as we bring you back here to Sanford. And the offense on the field, Claude Fleming had room, but he gets caught by the ankles. He had free running room if he didn't get tripped up. 2nd and 2 here, offset I, and there's Joe Baker. The young redshirt freshman gets an 8-yard run, and he's really the balance now to Claude Fleming, and a first down there. Hopefully to see more of him as the season goes on. Play action here for Patrick as he connects with Gutierrez, but a gain of nothing as Gutierrez brought down at the line. 2nd and 10, back to the full house formation as Patrick takes the snap. They want that slant, and they get Josh Williams. It's a 10-yard gain as it'll be 3rd and inches here. With 3rd and inches, who do you go to? They go to Fleming, and he goes up the gut, but he'll be short. 4th and inches. The offense is still out there, folks. Barnett is aggressive, and Gutierrez has it. 3-yard run for the first down. This drive continues. Just over 2 minutes left in the half. 1st and 10, Patrick dropping back. He checks it down to Fleming, and that's going to be a gain of 2. Not much, but a smart throw as pressure was coming in. You got to give it to Barnett. He's been calling some nice plays here on this drive. As Patrick gets caught here on the option, it's a loss of 3 by Max Richardson. He's the middle linebacker here at Boston College, and that is a big tackle. 3rd and 11, Patrick looking to throw. He connects with Patrick Jackson, and that is a big first down. Patrick to Patrick connection for 13 and a new set as it's 1st and 10 with less than a minute. Patrick looks to roll out. He's going to take off, and that's going to be a gain of 7 as he runs out of bounds, doesn't want to take an unnecessary hit. 2nd and 3 now as Patrick offset I, hands off to Joe Baker, and he is brought down. Big hit there as second timeout taken here by Sanford. They took one earlier because of needing to change their play on the field. As Patrick to the end zone, touchdown Sanford! Rob Thomas with a phenomenal catch. It was near just the edge of the sideline, and I don't know how Rob Thomas keeps a foot down. A remarkable play as it looks like this is getting reviewed. We'll see another replay here in the stadium, and that's a beautiful play. He barely keeps that foot down as he catches that football, but nonetheless, that is a touchdown, folks. As we're getting the ruling here. And the play will stand. Touchdown Sanford. It's a 1-score game. With 26 seconds left in the half, Sanford relying on their defense to keep Brown off the board here. As Brown runs right into Shea Faraday. The first career sack of the young man. As that is a big play here now. As that moves him back to 2nd and 18 after the first career sack for Faraday. That will take us to halftime, folks, as Boston College on top by only 1 score, 20-14. We'll have more here for the second half on Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to Sanford Sports Radio. It's the beginning of the second half of play. Boston College football in a tight one, 2017, as Andrew Justice can't go far there, only finds 2 yards on that run. This defense, I think, is feeling some momentum after that Shea Faraday sack to end the half. As Brown hands off to Justice again, but he's not going far, only a gain of 1. Bryant met him. As James Bryant had a very good year last year, looks to continue on it this year. 3rd and 7, Brown to throw, but look at the blitz! That was Sam Moore, the corner. The nickel corner comes flying in, and he looked like Lewis McMahon did at the end of last season coming in on that blitz. Great play by Moore, and that'll cause a 4th down. Boston College has to punt. 4th and 14 is a boot here by BC. Sanford gets a chance. That's Steven Supersonic Sullivan, the freshman. And look at that spin move. 21-yard return beautiful field position. Sanford's got a chance to take the lead here on this drive. First and 10, handoff out of the full house goes to Joe Baker. It's a gain of 3 for the young man, and he's gotten 3 carries today and has looked fairly sharp on all 3. Second and 7. Patrick going, play action, doesn't like what he sees, he's rolling out, he's got room to run, he's gonna take off, gets a first down and more as he slides. Good play by Patrick, he didn't like it, so he used that mobility we know he has. He's trying not to make mistakes, you can tell. He's up against a very good corner there though, in Alexander as the handoff goes to Gutierrez. Here on first down, a gain of 5, and Gutierrez being used a little more than I anticipated today. Second and 5 out of the shotgun. Hand off to Fleming. A little surprising to see them run him out of the gun. It's an 8-yard run and a first down, and I think he could have had more if he didn't get caught when he did. First and goal here. Handoff goes to Claude Fleming. He's fighting, but can't find much. It's only a gain of 2 up the gut. We do have some visual situation. We do have an issue here on the visuals as a sack. Here's what I'm seeing on second down. Got some issues on my end. I apologize, folks. Finally, a little bit's coming back here. We're not seeing much. It was a sack on Tanner Patrick from what I can garner. And it will be third and goal for Sanford. Not a good situation here. As third and goal in the shotgun, we're finally back full on visually. Patrick on the run, and that is another stop by Boston College. Only a gain of 1 as they settle for the field goal. Jackson Stone is stone cold on his kick. It's 17-20 here. Boston College still on top. Brown gives it to Justice on the next offensive drive here for Boston College. But Big Joe with the hit as Fowler slowed down Justice. Second and 10 here now as Boston College looks to get their offense going. Brown slips and he can't connect with his intended target because of it. As that is phenomenal play by the defense to get pressure in there, taking advantage of Brown slipping. That grass is extremely wet. It's been raining all day long. As that is a pass to Guy Holt, which goes nowhere, dropped at the line. Sanford football once again here on offense. We're getting close to the end of the third here with less than 2 minutes to go as Claude Fleming with a nice 11-yard run to start this drive. Now into Boston College territory. It's first and 10. Patrick hands off to Baker, and Baker's got room up the gut. It's a first down. A nice run from both backs to begin this drive. First and 10 in the pistol. They're going option, and Patrick's got room. Look at the runs as Patrick takes the hit. It's 13 yards and a first down. That is 3 straight first down runs, folks. As they now go to the Wildcat, and they go back to Fleming on the run. And it is a 3-yard rush there. This team is officially now rushed for over 100 yards. Second and 7 as this should be the last play of the third. Patrick rolling out. He's going to take a hit and falls down after a gain of 3. Third and 4 here coming up as that will take us to the end of the third quarter. It's still Boston College on top though, but it is a tight one. 20-17. Can Sanford make the comeback? We'll have more for you here on Sanford Sports Radio for your fourth quarter. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, for the final quarter of play here in Sanford, here on the Sanford Sports Radio. Patrick to throw, and into the hands of Lionel Alexander. The last man you wanted to see come up with the football, and it's even worse. It's a bad throw by Patrick into double coverage. But Sanford has to deal with it as once again visual errors here from our camera crew as I can't see what's taking place. I'm getting a look. It looked like a short gain by Justice. Yeah, we're finally coming back here. Still with a couple errors. I'm sorry about that. Justice gained 3 on the first down and now a gain of 7 near the first down marker here on second down. It will be third and short. Hopefully we've seen the end of the visual errors. The rain causing chaos here in Sanford today. As Brown on the run here on third down. It's a gain of 2 as the Eagles pick up the first. They're trying to keep this ball on the ground. They don't want a turnover to take place. As Justice up the gut, that's going to be a gain of 9. He's able to find a lot of room easily. This is a powerful runner who is really making this defense work. Second and 1, handoff goes to Russell, but he's bottled down. I saw Dylan Trevor and I believe James Bryant on that. Good play by this linebacking core. It was Bryant who got there first and Dylan finished the job. Third and 1, handoff goes to Byron Gerard. They went with the fullback and it works out. Third and 1 ends in a first down with a 3-yard run. Find my wording finally. It's Andrew Justice once again with a first down carry. It's a 5-yard run as Boston College continues to run down this play clock. Second and 5, man in motion is Bridges. They'll hand off to Russell and he runs into Daniel Clemens. Luckily both men go down. A gain of 3 for Russell. Third and 2, I look for this to go Justice's way, and it does, and he gets just enough for the first. 3-yard rush and another first down as they are in Coyote territory. Sanford's got to get this football back, whether it's a turnover or just stopping them. They have all 3 timeouts, but they need the football back as a big stop here on first down. It's a gain of 1 for Willie Russell, but the defense was all over him. Second and 9. As a looks like false start here, somebody got a little antsy on that Boston College line. That is a huge plus for Sanford. Now it becomes second and 14. Pistol formation for Boston College. As the handoff goes to Justice, going around the left side, and he goes down. Guess what, Mark? That's your brother Pat on that tackle. Great stop by Pat Riley there. Third and 14. As Brown drops back, he goes deep downfield. Gibson on him. He loses Bridges for a second, but it falls incomplete off the hands of Bridges. The elements taking effect. It's Sanford football deep in their own territory as Fleming has to find room on that screen. He's able to find 9. That is a good start, but they have to get downfield and they can't make mistakes. Patrick pitches it out to Fleming. He's got running room. A nice move there as that is a 10-yard run and a new set of downs. It's all on the seniors, I'd say here. Patrick and Fleming are the 2 guys we're watching as Patrick rolls out now. He's got a first down and more. That slide and a first. Great play by Patrick, not going to risk anything. As it is first and 10, nearing midfield. Handoff goes to Joe Baker. The redshirt freshman with a gain of 8. He has looked sharp here today. Hasn't gotten a ton of carries, but on his 5 has looked very good. Second and 2 out of the shotgun. They're looking for the screen to Fleming again. They connect with it as Fleming does get enough for the first, but that's all he could find. 4 yards on that. First and 10 with about a minute and a half remaining. Patrick rolling out again. He's going up the middle as he takes a shot. It's a 6-yard gain though, and Patrick does get up, thankfully. It's coming down to the wire here, folks. A minute left to go in this ball game. Sanford football as they're going to pass it. No, Patrick rolling out. And he throws to Fleming. Fleming breaks a tackle. He's got blocked. The 5. Touchdown, Sanford. 37-yard touchdown, Claude Fleming. It doesn't get better than that. Senior to senior. Touchdown, Sanford on top. I may have gotten a little overexcited there, folks, but Sanford is on top. 24-20 after a Patrick to Fleming touchdown, and we've got a jump by Boston College. This offense is in disarray. First and 15. There's 50 seconds left on the clock. Brown drops back. The Eagles need a touchdown as that's over the middle to Mike Evans. He gained 7 but brought down. 2nd and 8. Boston College just took their first timeout. 46 seconds remain. Brown looks to throw. He'll swing that one out to Justice, but look at the hit. That's Sam Williams. Great hit, young man. 3rd and 9. The defense chants are loud here in Sanford. Brown to throw. He throws. Holt can't hang on. It's a drop. It's 4th and 9. The game comes down to this. 36 seconds. 4th and 9 for Boston College. Brown looks to throw out of the gun. Holt gets it. He's dropped short. Dylan Trevor stops him. Sanford wins, folks. Thank you to the hometown boy for getting the stop. And Sanford will take it in the 4th quarter. Your player of the game, and rightfully so, Claude Fleming, 113 yards on scrimmage today. 57 on the ground, 56 through the air, and 2 touchdowns. 1 receiving, 1 rushing, and that receiving touchdown. An amazing play by Tanner Patrick to roll out, extend the play, connects with Fleming, and Fleming does the rest. A phenomenal play by both seniors on this team, and you can love Patrick, you can hate him for his turnovers, but you have to agree the kid led the offense on that final drive. An absolutely phenomenal game by Sanford down the stretch. The offense never gave up, and the defense brought it in the second half. Sanford wins here at home to start the season, 24-20. Mark Riley, it was great to see you again here in Sanford. We wish you the best in the rest of your season. But Sanford wins, and it's a great start to a new season. I've been Jonathan West. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio, and we will see you folks next week.